they were actually like bizarrely almost supportive of me trying to do the music thing.
Oh, wow.
They like loved that I did it growing up. You know, we were like sleeping on like parking lot medians, like not even able to get like a hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what if we tried to like sell merch and tried to like, you know, make money?
Mm-hmm. When you did Love Like Woe, did you already have like were you already signed back then?
When I wrote it, I wasn't. I wrote it, I was like, in my mom's basement. And I wrote it in like 20 minutes.
That's
and
so
I
crazy.
didn't think I wasn't actually going to use it as like, for me. It was just like, yeah, this is like a cool thing, I guess. But I've been with the same person for like a very long time, like since I was in high school.
Whoa.
We like just recently got like married last year.
Yeah, congrats.
So, thanks.
Wow. Hi, this is Lauren Engel. Today I'm here with the Ready Set.
Hi.
So you're born in Fort Wayne, Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Were your parents born there as well?
Yeah. Pretty much everyone in my entire family is still there too. I think I'm like the only person who left.
Yeah.
So far.
Where's your last name from?
It's German, and
Same.
I've never been to Germany, which is
Same. My last name's like Engel, which
Wait.
is also German.
Oh.
So we both in heaven, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm obligated to go to Germany because of that fact, but I really haven't had a chance. Maybe one of these days, hopefully.
What do your parents do then?
My dad like makes, like different things out of fiberglass. Like he used to make like the little buckets you stand in that like go up to fix like power lines and stuff on those like trucks.
Okay.
So, and just a bunch of other random things. Like he makes like boat parts and like a bunch of stuff. He just makes stuff.
Yeah.
And then my mom just did the mom thing and raised me and my brother and sister. And yeah.
Where do you get your creative side from?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. No one else in my family, like, that I know of really was into, like, music, I guess, as far as, like, my parents or grandparents or anything like that. My brother is, but I'm not sure. I think it just sort of came out of thin air.
Mm-hmm.
Just came out of nowhere.
And the early stuff you saw was, like, the Michael Jackson live concert
Yeah.
performances.
Yeah, that was, like, I don't know, I think it was, like, maybe a formative thing that I didn't realize at the time. I was just like being 5 and like dancing around, you know, just being a 5-year-old. So, but I guess maybe something about that stuck, and I was like, I don't know, it became part of my like interests or something.
What kind of music were your parents playing in the house?
You know what, honestly, like they didn't really play like music in the house. It was really just like listening to the radio, and I was like growing up like in the car. So it wasn't like a particularly like overly musical household. I think I just kind of like got into it on my own, just like through like my friends and like through some people who were into like punk music and like skateboarding and stuff like that. That was kind of like what drove me into like playing music and like trying to be in bands and all that. Yeah.
What were the early stuff that you found yourself like band-wise?
I was really into like Rise Against and AFI, like No Effects, and like things like that are completely a world away from anything that I make. But I was like playing drums growing up. That was like my main thing, and I just want to play like fast, hard stuff. So then I wanted to be in bands like that. So then I would like join these like punk bands, like hardcore bands, and somehow, somewhere along the line, that like segued to me wanting to shift into trying to make like my own electronic type stuff. And yeah, there's a weird disconnect there somewhere, but somehow like made sense to me.
Yeah. And you also play a lot of instruments. Were those like classes that your parents put you in, or did you teach yourself?
It was actually my mom's idea to put me in drum lessons when I was like 10 or 11, and I don't really remember why she thought that would be a good idea. She just kind of was like, hey, I got you drum lessons, do you want to do that? I was like, sure. So I tried it, and I was like, yes, this is awesome, and I love this. And yeah, it was kind of like this weird like thing, like she knew that I would want to do that, and it worked. So did that for a little bit, and then I kind of taught myself like bass a little bit, and then like programming and keys stuff, just like basically enough to like the point where I could like make something and like record it pretty much. Like I never really got like super efficient at like playing the piano, or like I can't just like rip bass super well or anything. It's just like kind of like a means to an end. Like I can record the idea and like that's it kind of. But it works, you know.
How else would you describe yourself back then growing up?
Very really quiet and probably introverted would be the word. It's definitely not a very social kid like in high school or anything like that, or middle school or anything. I didn't really hang out with that many people, and I pretty much kept to myself and like played drums and listened to music, and I don't know, I had this like weird focus on that stuff before I even knew I wanted to do that. It was just sort of like all I cared about was just like sitting there making something.
Did you like school though?
No, I did not like school. It's funny, like I did fairly well. Like I got like good grades, but I always kind of made it a point just to do like the minimal amount of stuff that I had to do. Like I was never really trying to go like above and beyond to like really stand out, I guess, in school. I think it was maybe like I kind of knew it wasn't going to be something for me that was overly important, I think, because I don't know, I'm not really sure, but I did get like A's and B's and stuff in school. But I think
your
like,
parents, did they push you academically?
No, not really. They were actually like bizarrely almost supportive of me trying to do the music thing, because they like loved that I did it growing up, and I guess they thought I was like good enough at it. So when I finished high school, like I started doing the Ready set when I was in high school, so by the time I had finished, I kind of built like a fan base, and they were like, you know, you can like always go to college, or you can just go out and like try to do this and try to make it happen. And so I did that, and they were like cool with it. They were just like, yeah, like we think, you know, if you think you can do it, then do it. So super lucky, because I don't think that that's a very common thing that a lot of parents would be like, yeah, go out and do this job that is like a 1 in a million chance of it working. But
what was the turning point that you decided to like quit the other bands and just do your own The Ready set?
there was a very, very specific turning point, actually. I joined this one hardcore band called Saints Never Surrender. I was playing drums, and I was really excited because I was like, yes, this is going to be like a full-time touring thing. They were like signed to like a cool like indie label, and I was like, this is it. Like I get to go on tour. Like 2 weeks into it, I was like, we were like sleeping on like parking lot medians, like not even able to get like a hotel room. And I was like, what if we tried to like sell merch and tried to like, make money? And they're like, no, that's like dumb. And I was like, okay, I think I should probably not be doing this. So I like finished that tour, and then I was just like, I want to do the Ready Set stuff because I can like run it like a thing where it's like able to sustain itself and like, go and actually play shows and sleep in real beds, which is sick. But that was like one of those kind of experiences where I was like, this is what I don't want, but I'm glad that I experienced that, because then it kept me like in this mindset of like always trying to achieve something a little bit better. So that was definitely it.
How old were you when you started?
I think I was 17, pretty sure. Yeah. So when I started the Ready Set, I was like 17, or 17 or 18 or something. But yeah, I was like still in high school.
And how long after were you like garnering a fan base and was able to tour?
It was actually a lot quicker than it felt like, because I used to like get really stressed out and be like, I want all this stuff to happen. Like right now, I need like everyone to hear my stuff, and I just want to go on tour right away. And it was realistically like, it was maybe like a year before I like felt confident enough to like really make it like a touring thing for the most part. And
you set up a lot of the early tours yourself, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the places were like difficult, like half of it worked out like early on.
Yes, yeah. It was like, I would kind of just take anything I could get. I just was like, as long as I can get in front of like 10 people in this city, then I can make enough money to go to the next city, and maybe they'll tell some people about it the next time I come through. And it was just like, I really had this like firm belief that if I just kept cycling back around, like it would have to like grow, like it had to, and it did. So that was good. I mean,
that's great. Did you have any like mentor, anyone guiding, or like how do you even figure out how to like book a place and like, you know what I mean?
I kind of just like watched what other bands did. Really, like I was always really impressed by like small touring bands who would come through my hometown and play like basement shows and then like get in their van and just go to the next place. So I was like, that's so cool that they're like just grinding, trying to get fans and trying to grow their thing. And then I was like, well, if they can do it, maybe I'll kind of follow that thing and just try to do it myself. And at the time, like, I think there wasn't a lot of like pop like artists going about it in that kind of like more like punk rockish way of like doing it DIY and stuff. So that was kind of like a cool thing to me. I was like, well, I'll be like one of the few who are like willing to do that and not just trying to like sign to a label and be like a pop artist or whatever.
How old were you like at this time now?
Probably 19 or 18 or 19, I think, because when I was 20, I think I was 19 whenever I ended up signing my first deal. No, 20. I don't know, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Were you afraid of people like thinking that you were too young or like being sketchy?
No, not really. I mean, I kind of early on, like at that point, like before stuff really started to get like really serious and really started moving, I started working with my manager. So he kind of like made sure things were like not gonna be sketchy, because there's definitely a million different times where something could have been just like awful, and it was kind of just like saved by just having somebody help it.
And this is all through like MySpace, right?
Yeah.
Early on.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, like that was like kind of how I started when I was in high school, like getting people to like listen, because that was really like the thing at the time. But by the time it started kind of working, like and I started doing like good bigger tours and stuff, like it had kind of fallen off. So like I just stopped. Like I literally just never looked at it again. I was just like, this is kind of like a dead thing. Like as soon as I caught like the vibe that it was sort of on its way out, I was like, I should maybe just do Twitter or something.
Oh, what did you pivot to then? Like mostly YouTube then?
Not so much. It was really just like, I guess Twitter, and then a little bit after that Instagram, and then Facebook a little. But I still am like, I don't ever really update my Facebook, so I know I should, but I don't like it, so I don't. But I don't know. It was really like things just got like kind of busy to the point of where it was like a little harder to like respond to everything like in the way that I used to, because I used to comment everyone back and like do all that, and like now I've actually kind of like gotten to this point where I'm like I always like doing that, so I'm kind of just doing that on like Twitter and Instagram, and I'm like, I feel like I'm where I was when I started doing stuff, and it's like kind of amazing. But yeah, not so much YouTube though. I'm like pretty not good at YouTube, I think. Like I can't like make a vlog or anything really, because I know I'll look at it later and be like, oh, you're the worst. Like I'm just like too like weird for that, I think. A little awkward. But
when you did Love Like Woe, did you already have like were you already signed back then?
When I wrote it, I wasn't. I wrote it, I was like, in my mom's basement, and I wrote it in like 20 minutes, and
That's so crazy.
Didn't think I wasn't actually going to use it as like for me. It was just like, yeah, this is like a cool thing, I guess. But it came out after I was though. So.
Oh, that's why you had like a whole team who knew how to market and everything.
Yeah. So that was something that was very, very, very unexpected. Like I did not ever think that whole thing was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a trip for sure.
Was that to Warner?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was great. Like, that was like, I don't know, I feel lucky because I'm one of like the only people that I know who signed like major deals and got out of it and don't have like negative things to say about any of it. Like it was really like chill. Like there's no like legal battles or anything. It was really just so like lucky. Like everyone was great. Like I feel like most people would be like, yeah, I hated being on XXX whatever label, but I liked it. It was cool.
And then when did the Pete Wentz thing happen?
He actually signed me to Decaydance, which was at the time like distributed through Warner Brothers. So it was all through them. And then whenever we had to do radio stuff, Warner Brothers was like the radio team, and then started working. So then they sort of like kind of took the reins a little bit more. I just became more Warner centric and less Decaydance, but it was good. Like that was around that time when I was more heavily involved with Decaydance. I feel like the coolest stuff was happening because we were doing so much more like just like interesting video stuff and like a little more like things that like fans would have as like a tangible cool thing to be part of, like me growing as like a artist or whatever. So that was definitely like really exciting.
And then they were having you kind of chase a similar single with that sound for like a really long time.
A little bit, yeah. It was kind of a weird thing. Like there was definitely times when I think kind of lost the plot a little bit, because like at the end of the day, that was like Love Like Woe was a song that wasn't like, it didn't have a great, like some like immense like personal like message or connection for me, really. I feel so bad crossing the street.
Oh yeah.
Don't hit me. It didn't have like, I didn't have some big like, this song is like the most important lyrical concept to me. It was really just kind of like something I made and it just worked. And so I think it was hard for me to try to like rechase that thing when it was, in my opinion, like somewhat of like a fluke. So like I would write these songs and I was like, these are great, and, like people are gonna love them, and I knew like my fans would like them because they liked my other stuff. But then the label would be like, well, we need like another big radio hit or whatever. And I was like, well, I don't know how to like, you can't just like force that out. I think it's kind of just like, just happens. So that was a little tough for a minute, but it ended up all right.
Yeah. And then after that you signed with a different label?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah, I was actually been on
like three, 4?
Yeah.
I was like trying to take notes. I was like, wait, so what happened when?
Yeah, there's a handful. So then I went to Razor and Tie, and that was rad. They're great too. And then I went to Hopeless, and that was also rad. That was great too. So
how do you decide like what you wanted to sign to?
It was, I mean, I went to both of those labels with full albums kind of already done. So I was like, we like sent it around to a bunch of different labels and got some like offers, and those were just the ones who like I thought would do the best with the project. And it was good. It was always just like single album things. Like if we want to do another one together, we would, and if we wanted to go somewhere else, we would. So pretty low stress, but they were both cool. And it was different, obviously, because those are both like indie labels, so a little bit less of like the big radio pop campaign type stuff, but it was cool, definitely.
Have you ever thought about being like independent for long periods of time? Because I feel like early on you like booked your own shows, like you knew how to like be an independent artist kind of early on.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always like known how, and for the most part, the only benefit in my head for like being independent is like, for one, you're not like ever in debt to anyone, and no one's gonna try to like push you to make a certain thing, which is cool to me. But yeah, I've been kind of independent for a little bit now, but I've been putting out songs on like dance labels like Spinnin' and Thrive and Armada and stuff. But right now I'm like just fully, I did the last EP by myself, doing the next one by myself, and it's just kind of easier right now, I think. Like it's seems like the right move for whatever reason.
What kind of artists were you listening to that veered you towards the electronic side?
I was definitely, I remember the first thing that got me into like specifically into like production and like cool, just like caring more about that than I had in the past was like Daft Punk, and then the Kanye West album Graduation, because I thought the whole thing just sounded like so cool and just so like unique, and I was like, I don't know, something about it just like struck a chord with me, and I just wanted to like make stuff on a computer and just go that direction. And also I feel like I maybe would have done the like more guitar-y stuff had I ever learned how to play guitar when I was a kid. I never learned, so like it might be like a bit of a blessing in disguise, because it made it so that I was like kind of pushed into just making stuff on a computer instead, which I think at the time it would have been probably a little easier to do guitar stuff, because there wasn't so much electro pop whatever going on.
Was like teaching yourself how to produce difficult, because at that time you were like doing more like recording straight from the instruments?
Kind of. I mean, I didn't really like know what I was doing with production stuff honestly until like maybe a couple years ago, and even then, like if I listen to stuff I did last year, I'd be like, oh, it's bad. Like it's definitely like a constant I guess like process to get better at it. I don't know. I never feel like anything's like super great or anything, but yeah, it's a everyday learning something type of thing.
Did you ever consider like changing your name when you started doing more electronic stuff?
Kind of. I like kind of wanted to for a while. I almost did like a few times, but then I was like, well, I can just like use those names and make something else and have like other projects and stuff. So I think it's like a little less destructive. And like I know there's people who've like listened to my stuff for a long time, and I don't know, I still think there's like a lot I want to do and like say with that project and that name. And I like kind of like the idea of like having it change and just become something a little bit different and a little bit more like me, instead of just like killing it and starting new. So yeah, I go back and forth with it all the time. Like I don't even know. Even some days I'm like, yeah, I still want to change the name. Like, yeah, so whatever though.
And the bands like Warped Tour was a big part of your career, right?
Yeah. That was one of those things that pretty early on was like a big goal to get to do it. So like when we got asked to do it the first year, I was like, oh my god, it's like amazing. And it actually, like, the shows were kind of strange that year for me. Like, I think it's because I had just come off of like all just like radio festivals, and like everybody on that tour who was like a whatever other type of band probably thought I was just like this pop thing trying to like be cool on Warped Tour. And I was like, no, I like
that was like what you came from.
Yeah, but then I did it again in 2014, and it was like wild. Like, it was so good, and like the crowds were amazing, and everyone was so cool. So yeah, it's definitely it was like always an important thing for sure. It's really cool. Yeah, I liked it.
Was it ever annoying that they like always requested for Love Like Woe?
No. I mean, I never wanted to be that thing that like tried to that tried to like rebel against the single or whatever. Like, I know like it gets like old to play the same thing, but at the same time it's like it's 3 minutes and it's not that big of a deal. It makes people happy, like, for whatever somebody takes away from it. Like, I think they enjoy it, and that's like why I like doing music stuff, is it connects with people for their own reasons. So I don't feel negative about it. Like, now it's actually kind of like a little more fun, because it's like been a long time. So like people are like I'll do like shows at colleges, and people will be like, okay, this is cool, and then I'll play that song, and they'll be like, oh yes, like I know this guy. This guy's back. So it's good though. It's definitely good. And like there are worse things than like having to play a song a lot. I mean, it's still a cool job, I guess.
What was your inspiration behind V1?
Kind of a lot of stuff, a lot of things and stuff. I don't know. It was like really the first time that I felt like completely like zero expectations for me to do any certain thing. Like, just because I had been only doing like collaborations for like a year before, and it was all over the place. So I don't think anyone maybe knew what I was going to go with, like, direction wise and stuff. So it felt like probably the most fun I've had making a Ready Set thing in like probably like 8 years. Like, it just felt very like a pure process that was just me getting to like be whatever I wanted. It was cool. So it's rad, because I'm like still working on like the second one now, which is like leaning even more into like exactly what I want it to be, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah. How do you think your music's changed since the early songs you made?
I think it's gotten better. Just better. I don't know. I think like one thing is I never really wanted to set like some sort of goal to like go for a certain thing. Like, I always just try to like take things that I like and just like apply them to the style that I do. And I don't exactly know how to describe what it is that I like, what my style is, or the things that I like tend to lean towards, but I know it's something, and I know that I like to make it, so I just keep doing that. And I think in time it gets better every time. Like, it just gets more concise, and like I've learned so much in 10 years of like working with so many really good producers and writers. I'm just like trying to like take all that in, and just trying to like apply all these things while still making it feel like my instinct is like kind of guiding the thing. So I don't know, there's things that feel like really old stuff to me now, but like in the new way. There's a truck, it's loud.
Yeah.
Good day, truck. There's things that I'm kind of like reverting back to, like almost in this way, like I was trying to lean like so pop for so long. So I mean, I love pop music, but like I like almost repressed this like type of song in me. It's like a little more like mid 2000s like emo stuff I would listen to like growing up, like in high school or whatever. And now it's kind of like seeping back out a little bit. I'm like, I feel like I don't have to like hold that back in a way. Like certain types of melodies and certain like things that I just hadn't really done. So it's like exciting. Feels like there's more options on the table for me to like creatively like pick from.
How do you think you've grown as a person since when you started?
I'm just getting worse as a person, actually. I'm very mean now, and I'm just overall bad person now. I don't know. I think I'm just like maybe a little less worried, stressed out about like what the right thing to do is in terms of like career stuff. For one, that's like I used to like drive myself crazy about like the smallest little thing, like if something was gonna like negatively affect the next thing or like, and if things weren't going like the right way, I would like freak out and drive myself like insane. So I don't do that anymore. I think I just sort of chilled out, and now I'm just kind of like almost like, I don't know, just like passive about expectations in a way that like if something goes well, it's great, and if it doesn't, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep doing other stuff and keep making things. And I think I've like found more, I guess, happiness in just like the consistency of always making something and always like, I don't know, just creating something, whatever it is. And like I do a bunch of other stuff too aside from the Ready Set with music, so like I have so many other outlets as well, which also I think makes me feel more comfortable and not like...
Or like writing for other people, or?
Yeah, for other artists. I do production and like mixing and mastering, and then I have another band that I'm in, and then I do stuff for like film and TV, like commercial stuff. So that's all like, I don't know, like those things I think made it so that I can feel better about Ready Set stuff. Like I can make that exactly what I want. I don't have to worry about like filling all these different slots with like, you know, like I don't have to fit it into every, like, I don't know, into everything. I can kind of just do whatever with it.
What would you say have been your biggest challenges so far?
Maybe it was really just like managing expectations in general. Like just sort of like getting myself to not look at everything like it's this do or die thing. You know, just kind of getting myself to the point of where I'm like, this is good either way, and if I feel good about what I'm doing, then it is good, and that's that. And that was definitely like a tough thing to figure out, like how to get myself into that mindset. But aside from that, I guess you could go back to like the early days of touring and stuff where, you know, it was like tough to get anywhere. We were like sleeping in like a car or whatever, so that sucks, but important stuff to do, I think.
Yeah. What does success look like to you?
I think everything's kind of like a wave, sort of. I guess that's kind of a cheesy analogy, but it's like, I feel like good things kind of like happen. Like everybody has like moments where it's like things are growing, and then you hit this like point where everything's kind of going well, and then you gotta kind of ride out like a down a little bit, and then it'll go back up and up and down. So I think like to me, as long as I'm always anticipating the next like up thing, I'm gonna feel like it's successful. And I don't think it's like so much of like a money thing, like making a certain amount of money, although that's like rad or whatever. It's not really, I think, the be all end all thing. I think it's just like, to me, being successful is just being able to be happy doing the thing that I like to do and nothing else, and not having to worry about like, you know, like having someone telling me like you have to do this or this or this. I think it's just kind of being free to make stuff I want to make.
What does love mean to you?
I think it means like a certain kind of dependability in a way almost. I've been with the same person for like a very long time, like since I was in high school.
Whoa.
We like just recently got like married last year.
Yeah, congrats.
So, thanks.
Wow.
So I think like my perspective on it is maybe a little bit like skewed from like what most people would think, just because like I've just had that consistency for a really long time, and it just kind of worked. Like there's no explanation to why, I don't think, because people be like, how did you like stay together that long while you're touring and doing the whole thing? And I was like, I don't know. It's just like, it was just good. Like, it just worked. So I think it's like, it's a kind of like dependability thing, but at the same time, I don't think it's something that you can like look for in any way. I don't think like it's a tangible thing. I think it's like, it's in my head, no person is gonna like fix your like world or fix you or give you like love. It's just like the way you perceive that person, you know, like it's all kind of in your head in a way. And I think it's like you can't throw expectations at people, and you can't like expect like your significant other to like be this person for you or do this for you. I think it's all like this like acceptance and just like knowing that they are like who they are, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of rambly, but there's something in there. I don't know.
What do you love about her?
I would say this and that, just a few things here or there. No, she's just rad. She's like always supported everything that I've ever wanted to do, and never been like, no, don't leave, don't go on tour, don't do this thing, just because like she always knew that it was like my like life essentially was like this thing, like creating something and doing something. And she's like pretty goal driven too, like in the way I am, so it works really well. And it's just good. Like it's just nice to have somebody who like has known me longer than I was ever even really seriously doing music, so she doesn't have any like perception of like who I am, like based on like any sort of like music career or anything like that. She just knows me for like who I have been forever.
Yeah.
Which is good, because she's like one of the like 5 people I can think of who aren't my family off the top of my head that I'm like still in contact with, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Is she in the creative field as well?
She does hair stuff. She colors my hair, as you can see. And she cuts hair too. She's like cut my hair forever, so I don't think I've ever actually like in my adult life paid to go get a haircut anywhere. She just like does it.
So lucky.
Which is rad. Yeah.
And
it's good.
Bleaches it and dyes it.
Yes, and ensures that it doesn't like just get fried and fall.
Oh yeah.
So safe on that front. But yeah, so I guess that is definitely a creative field, but she's not like a music person or anything like that. Yeah.
Last question. What do you want to be remembered for?
What do I want to be remembered for? Oh my gosh. Oh well. I don't know. I really don't know. I think just being remembered in general for anything is well, I guess not for anything, but being remembered in general for anything positive is good. So I think I just want people to, I don't know, just feel like something for something that I've made, I think. And it doesn't have to be like their favorite song in the world, or their favorite band or whatever. It's just like as long as it's like there and it was like a part of somebody's life, and they'll look back and be like, that's something. Like I just like remember that and I like that. And that's good. That's good. I'm not like trying to be like everybody's like favorite thing in the world or anything like that. I think like, I don't know, as long as people take something away from it, then that's good.
Yeah.
Anything is good.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.